Hello and welcome to another analysis behind the news, where we provide the perspective that you can use to help save American liberty and independence. On Friday, leaders of the US, Canada, and Mexico took time out of their G20 summit meeting in Argentina to ceremonially sign a North American Economic Integration Pact. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement was negotiated at the behest of President Trump to replace the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA as it's known. What you won't hear from most other news outlets is that NAFTA was created with integration in mind, integration of the three North American countries. Following the example of the European Union, former US Secretary of State and leading globalist supporter Henry Kissinger wrote in 1993, July 20th, 1993 to be exact, in the Washington Post, that the NAFTA will represent the most creative step toward a new world order taken by any group of countries since the end of the Cold War, and the first step toward the even larger vision of a free trade zone for the entire Western Hemisphere. He also wrote in the same article that what Congress will soon have before it is not a conventional trade agreement, but the hopeful architecture of a new international system. That new international system got quite a boost from both Presidents George H.W. Bush and his son George W. H.W. called for a new world order after kicking Saddam Hussein's forces out of Kuwait. And George W. Bush pushed for additional integration through a union and signed the Security and Prosperity Partnership in 2005. As for what kind of union, his co-signer on the Mexico side was former President Vicente Fox, who elaborated that eventually our long-range objective is to establish with the United States an ensemble of connections and institutions similar to those created by the European Union. In essence, a North American Union. NAFTA helped to lay that foundation, and President Trump was right to want to get out of NAFTA. Yet, globalists seeking a new world order have crafted a nightmare in the form of the USMCA that does nothing to get rid of the international system that Mr. Kissinger wrote about. In fact, the USMCA makes it even worse. But you won't hear the major media talk about sovereignty concerns. Instead, the coverage is from a Republican versus a Democratic Party point of view, with globalists in both parties planning to support it, no matter the ramped-up rhetoric they are saying now. In fact, CTV News in Canada is reporting that leading negotiator U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, who is a 20-year member of the Council on Foreign Relations, explained that the deal was negotiated with bipartisan support from both Democrats and Republicans, and expressed confidence it would survive the congressional approval process. He says, "I think we will get the support of a lot of Democrats, a very high number of Democrats, absolutely, I have no doubt about it. A number of their concerns will be addressed in the implementing legislation that will have to be brought forward for ratification," he added. And to help get it passed, President Trump told reporters last Friday that he will be working toward terminating NAFTA, so Congress can have its choice of passing USMCA or going back to the pre-1994 trade rules. Now, given what we know about NAFTA and USMCA, we suggest getting rid of both of them. Again, the USMCA follows a similar infrastructure plan that the European Union has. The EU has the European Commission that greatly takes away the responsibility of lawmaking from individual member nations and places that responsibility into an unelected regional bureaucracy that not only comes up with the legislation, but also implements it. The USMCA would create something similar, called a Free Trade Commission, that would at the very least undermine Congress's lawmaking ability, especially to those related to regulating trade and shaping foreign policy, and at worst, continue to grab even more power like the European Commission until America is not seen as a leading power. At that point, the focus will be on North America as a whole and not the United States of America. So how much of an impact do these regional unions have on members? Well, let's just ask those in the UK who voted to get out of the European Union in 2016. So folks, let's not end up like the British, having to fight for their sovereignty through a nameless, faceless international order. Let's ensure we protect American liberty and independence, because globalists are hoping to make nations the equivalent of what our counties in a state are by getting rid of national borders, national identity, and creating unaccountable regional government. But hey, don't take our word for it. Go look it up yourself and determine if President Trump has actually read the document. Given his strong stance against the United Nations, it seems possible that he is relying on globalists to carry out his Americanist agenda. And to that, we say, never send a globalist to do an Americanist job. Our USMCA special report is now available as a reprint from the New American. We strongly suggest you get plenty of copies to distribute to others and ask them to help you create pressure in Congress to stop the USMCA and to get out of NAFTA. Now, we've stopped these things before, and we can do it again with your help. Links are in the video description, so please like and share this video and sign up for our news and action alerts at jbs.org. Until next time, we'll see you then.